Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening around the world. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Blackjack. Today, as always, I'll be doing a deck tech from the comment section for you guys. If you're interested in having me put a deck together for you or help you tweak a list you're trying to work on, I'm looking for any of the 5 metrics in the comment section. A bracket, a budget, a theme, a commander, and any pet cards you might have. I'll also leave a link to join my Discord group down below. It's a great place to drop a deck list off to have me work on it. Today, we have a request from the user cyanyde. Says, I can't help myself. I'm craving another Blackjack Deck Tech. The Leviathan deck got built and everything as it should be. Now I'm looking at Baylen the Haymaker. Bracket 3, budget 3 to 400. A little lost on the win cons besides obvious X spells, pet card, Elspeth, Storm Slayer. So, this is Baylen the Haymaker. This is a Naya red, green, white 4/3. Tap 2 untapped tokens you control, add 1 mana of any color. Tap 3 untapped tokens you control, draw a card. Tap 4 untapped tokens you control, put 3 1/1 counters on Baylen, and it gains trample until end of turn. You care really about the only top 2 abilities, realistically only the second one, tap 3 untapped tokens, draw a card. So obviously this is a token deck. This isn't necessarily a I put out 5,000 tokens, they all become really, really big, and then I end the game by attacking. We can kind of approach from 2 fronts. We have the front of damage when creatures enter, things like a Gate Instigator, Perforos, God of the Forge does a really great job of it, Wildfire, Awakener, and then you also have Impact Tremors, War Leader's Call. So there's a lot of ways to deal damage incidentally just from creatures entering, which is a great win condition for this deck. And then obviously the other one is you can actually attack with these creatures. So we have 2 Planeswalkers, Elspeth, Stormslayer, your pet card, a really fantastic card in a deck like this for obvious reasons. It does everything you want it to. It doubles tokens, it makes tokens, it adds counters, and it can board wipe non-tokens. And then Elspeth Sun's Champion is another way to make tokens, destroy non-tokens sometimes. And then if you do get to the emblem, it probably will close the game out. 18 creatures, which probably seems a little bit low, but when I was looking through and building the deck list, it was really important to me that my creatures did one of 3 things. They either helped me with mana, they created an army on their own, not just a couple of tokens, but genuinely created a army to the point of these are must remove creatures. These are creatures that will win the game on their own if left alone. And then third and finally is ways to deal the damage as we already talked about. So, Academy Manufacturer, if you'd create a clue, food, or treasure, instead create one of each. Adeline Resplendent Cathar can do a great job of making an army. A Gate Instigator deals damage. Anim Pakal does a good job of making an army. Benny Brax draws cards. Drumbellower will untap stuff. So, again, ideally with Baylen, we are going to, at least in my opinion, only really be utilizing the first 2 abilities. And more often than not, it's just going to be the second ability to draw through our deck as fast as possible. So things like Drumbellower and then Seedborn Muse to untap our creatures is going to be extremely important. Enduring Vitality to turn all of our tokens into mana. Farmer Cotton, Jacked Rabbit, both of these can make a army on their own. Jaheira turns everything into Mox Emeralds, at least our tokens. Perforos we talked about. Sakura Tribe Elder, the beginning of our ramp package we'll get to. Scoot Swarm, everyone knows this card by now. It will win the game on its own if left unchecked. Seedborn Muse, another untap ability. Sprainheart Nantuko can go absolutely nuts. Tendershoot Dryad can make an army. Wildfire Awakener can make an army and deal damage. And then finally, Rise the Redeemed will also make an army. So, as far as the ramp package, you have Sakura Tribe Elder, Cultivate, Farseek, Kodama's Reach, Nature's Lore, Rampant Growth, Shared Roots, 3 Visits, Soul Rain, Arcane Signet, Felwar Stone. 11 up, staying consistent. A lot of people might ask, where's all your 1 drop mana dorks, your Llanowar Elves, and your Delighted Halflings? And what I would say to that is, first of all, I have 2 opinions on this. Number one, Baylen isn't necessarily important to get down early in the game. Realistically, I only want to deploy Baylen when I'm at the point where I can start tapping 3 untapped tokens to draw a card. Otherwise, it's not really necessary for me to have it on the battlefield, and I don't want it to become a lightning rod to removal. So I'm not in a rush to get it out on turn 2 after a Delighted Halfling on turn 1. I don't. You can't do anything with Baylen that turn, right? Like, you can't turn 1 Delighted Halfling, turn 2 Baylen, turn 3 Token Maker. You're still not going to have enough tokens to do anything that turn with Baylen, and you're already going to be starting to put the table on high alert. So in my opinion, it's not super necessary to get it out that fast. One. Two, when you do get it out, it doesn't need to tap or have haste to be effective. So if you play a token maker on turn 3, and then on turn 4 you have a couple of tokens to utilize, you can deploy Baylen and then immediately use those tokens without haste. So Baylen coming down a little bit later in the game's okay. And then the other big important thing is we're already so over committed to the board with our tokens that if we get board wiped, the game is literally just over for us, right? It's kind of a, obviously a 1 drop creature into a 2 drop Balin is effective, but if you get hit with a board wipe after 4 turns, the difference between your deck and my deck is my deck deployed a rampant growth on turn 2. I'm a mana up on everybody on the table, and I haven't even played Balin yet. All I've done is played an Adeline, whereas you have deployed your Delighted Halfling into Baylen, into a token maker, and then we both got board wiped. Now what happens? What happens is I still have all my resources and I'm a mana up. Your commander costs 5 mana. You're down a ramp piece, and you're actually even on mana with everybody else. That's why I only play mana dorks in decks that it's really important to get your creature out, your commander out, a turn early, and it's really effective with that commander. Mana dorks don't really do a whole lot for us here. So, Finale of Glory, a great way to make a ton of tokens, as well as Martial Coup. Martial Coup and White Sun's Twilight both act as board wipes in addition to token generation. Pest Infestation for some mass removal for artifacts and enchantments. Son of Totentans, create a bunch of rats, and then creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. So it also says, obviously, this creature can't block, but who cares? You're going to be attacking with them. Akroma's Will is a good way to kind of just end the game outright. Probably one of the most powerful spells in any go wide deck. And then there are a lot of actual tricksy stuff going on here. So again, you don't want to just lose the game to a board wipe, so there's a lot of ways to protect our board, and then there's also a lot of tricksy stuff that most people probably wouldn't expect from a deck like this that can actually save you in a pinch. Things like Arachnogenesis to save you from a massive swing of combat damage and make you a bunch of tokens can be awesome. Artifact and Aura Mutation to make tokens and destroy artifacts and enchantments. Call the Coppercoats, Clever Concealment, Dawn's Truce. So Call the Coppercoats can make tokens, and then as far as protecting your board, Concealment, Truce, Flawless Maneuver, Heroic Intervention, all ways for you to protect what's going on. Akroma's Will can also act as a protective element, but typically you'd like to use it on offense because it gives so many combat stats. We also have Grand Crescendo, March of the Multitudes, Secure the Wastes, great ways to utilize excess mana and make an army in a can. Path to Exile and Swords to Plowshares, you are going to be the one that's going probably the most wide on the board, so you're not necessarily worried about dealing with any creatures, but there might be like some one-off things that you don't want to have there, so you can get rid of them. Finally, Will of the Mardu, so it can make tokens and then it can deal damage equal to the number of creatures you control, and you can get both of those if you have your commander. Artifacts, Halo Fountain is Army in a Can, Idol of Oblivion is consistent card draw, Skull Clamp, you don't really want to be sacrificing your guys, but obviously Skull Clamp's the best card draw in any token deck, so if you have it, you're going to utilize it. Finally, Throne of the God Pharaoh is another way, in addition to the Impact Tremors and the War Leader's Call, to kind of get across the finish line and deal damage. Aura Shards is your second game changer. This and Seedborn Muse, I think, are the two best things for this deck. If you make 12 tokens in a turn and you're hitting 12 artifacts and enchantments, good chance the entire board's going to be wiped clean. Primal Vigor is our only token doubler. It's probably the cheapest one at 10 bucks. You could add more, but I think you already have Elspeth, you already have Primal Vigor. Maybe you add one and two more if you end up increasing your budget, but I don't think it's necessary these days to play like all seven of these types of cards. Caretaker's Talent for card draw, Felidar Retreat to make tokens and buff them, Growing Rights of Illimak to be a free Gaia's Cradle, Quest for Renewal as an untap ability, and then Springleaf Parade to also make tokens and turn them all into moxes. 36 lands, nothing crazy to note. Castle Ardenvale to make some stuff, Fountainport the same, Carekeep, Gavany Township to make them all big. Other than that, do the best with what you got. Nothing is super important here. Nothing is necessary. As always, build your mana bases up the best you can. If you have fetch lands, if you have shock lands, if you have duels, throw them in there. This is just a fairly budget mana base to maintain that price of 400 or less that you were looking for. 398's close, but if you take out Elspeth Stormslayer, that's obviously almost $40 on its own, and you already have that. So it's closer to around 360, ideally for you. Overall, I think this deck's extremely strong. It attacks on two fronts, and it's just effective. It's good at what it does. It's efficient at what it does. It's just a great token deck. It always has been, and it will continue to be. I think if I were to build it, this is the way I would put it together. I wouldn't go the route of call to arms and all these buffing effects and trying to win with my tokens. I would just have a board of 3 to 9 tokens, draw a truckload of cards every turn, and then eventually win with these damage effects or post board wipe a massive farmer cotton to make 20 tokens and finally push through to the end. So I hope you enjoyed it, Cyanide. Let me know how it plays out. As always, thank you so much for watching. Godspeed.